G'day guys, and welcome to the significant announcement that you've all been waiting for. It's something that I'm incredibly proud of, that Koa Sports has grown in this direction. It's along the lines of expansion, and we're bringing on another coach. It's a coach that brings a set of skills that, quite frankly, I don't have. A set of skills that will enable me to grow as a coach personally as well. And of course you guys. That's why we're doing it. It's about bringing the set of skills that you guys can benefit from. The person is, and to no surprise to those that were at the camp, is of course Greg McDermott. Welcome, buddy.
Hello, Tim.
Welcome to the team.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Look, mate. I got to say, really proud that you've taken a step to go full time.
Yep.
Obviously, you've been coaching for a while, and we've worked together in the past, so we know each other. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses. But certainly, I think we both know what we know, but we don't know what we don't know.
Yep, exactly. That's
and,
exactly right.
you know, I think that that's going to help our athletes, your athletes, new athletes. We're going to attract a whole different, wider athlete base around the world. So, without further ado, why don't you tell the people about how you came to this point, mate?
Yeah, I've been coaching now for a couple of years and using the Training Peaks platform, which is great, as an athlete and now a coach as well. And my own business has grown to a point where I need to look to broaden my horizons as well, and getting new skills myself, and getting into an area where I believe I can help my own athletes and future athletes as well. And I think that Koa Sports will be able to provide that for me.
Yeah, sure. Well, why don't we go through certainly some of the things that I think are fairly obvious, that what sets us apart, because I think if you're building a team and you're trying to create a culture, you don't want the same. Exactly. And whilst we're mates, and certainly we recognise that some people would say you never go into business with your mates, but as a physio told me 6 years ago, I should never run again. And, you know, that's going okay so far. So I think you just go with your gut, and we're both passionate and we're both full time. So we're in it, and we're in it for the long term. So firstly, Greg's vegan. You're a plant-based athlete and coach.
Yep.
And I like meat. So let's be honest, you're going to have a greater understanding of, let's just say, how to get protein for a start.
Yep. And yes, I am plant-based athlete, but in no way do I push athletes towards that lifestyle.
Sure.
I'm always big about when people ask me about diet, and I'm sure we'll get to it in a minute with my background in weight loss and things like that. Just eat more veggies. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? So, so there's a bit of gold. Yeah.
I eat more lentils now since I met Greg, and April. Definitely.
Yeah. So, and that's like part of the process for me, was going through that whole change. We actually, the last time we raced in a race together, it was the last time that I was having animal products and all that sort of stuff. So I've transitioned over a number of years now into the plant-based lifestyle that we lead today. So.
I will say one thing though, I'm never having bonsai in my cappuccino, that's for sure. Second thing would be, and it's probably, it's personal, but relationships with athletes are personal. They're more than just athlete coach, and they can get deeper. As much as we try not to, sometimes you just go deep. And look, you have a really deep understanding of, I'm going to say at the very simplest form is weight loss, but also mental health.
Yeah, definitely. I've had my own battles with mental health over a number of years, and life isn't just one rosy sort of just goes through for me. There's ups and downs every now and then, but I think I can bring a lot of that to athletes in relation to race day preparation, overcoming adversity, how to get through, we've obviously got some people listening now, watching now, that are, how do you get through a 6-hour ride with a 2-hour run off the bike? So I think that the sport of triathlon itself is actually 4 legs, the fourth one being mental discipline and health. So I really enjoy working with athletes along those lines as well.
Put simply, I think the most I've ever weighed is 85 kilos in my university days. And that doesn't say that I don't know how to coach people who are trying to lose weight, but again, I sort of go back to, and you don't want to just coach athletes that you relate to because that's what you did as an athlete, but I mean, if you've walked in the shoes, I mean, you weighed
Yeah, I was 110 kilos.
0.11
Yep.
of a ton. So
Yeah.
that's pretty solid. So
Yeah, so I obviously wasn't doing triathlon then.
Yeah.
But didn't take me too long to turn it around.
but it did turn it around.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so a lot of mental discipline, the right
Yeah.
diet, and that's what started us down a path of leading to where we are now with our lifestyle that we lead.
Yep.
But in saying that, I also coach athletes that have never had weight loss issues
Sure.
as well. So
Sure.
there's a whole, it just, as you said earlier, it just brings a different set of skills
Yep.
that we can both benefit from, and if we both benefit from them, well,
Yep.
the athletes are going to be the ones ultimately to benefit.
We often, even before this, I suppose, this formal arrangement, we would often talk to each other about,
Absolutely.
you'd ring me and say, hey, I've got this guy looking to qualify. I'd ring you and say, I've got this guy who's been battling a bit of weight,
Yeah.
have you got any tricks? So it's just, that's how it's going to benefit you guys ultimately, is that it's a greater encyclopedia of resources and life experience.
Yep.
I mean, you can't teach that. I mean, you can go to as many courses as you like, but you've got to apply, I think, life experience. So that's going to be fantastic. We're going to roll out some podcasts next year, obviously, as well, which will be fun.
Yeah,
so
looking forward to getting back into that.
bit of a blast from the past. We've done a couple before, highest rating ever, I think. We're going to do some more camps next year. We're going to obviously have a bit more availability for people to come along and join. So that'll be really exciting. And then obviously we're going to definitely try and push some overseas camps as well. So I think with 2 full-time coaches, we're going to enable us to be able to focus a little bit more professionally on, again, that broader range of skills at the camps itself. More social content, which you're a master of, let's be honest, with your massive social media following. And I think this is one important thing which actually surprised me, is that the inspiration that current athletes get from other athletes.
Yeah.
So as you start to widen that athlete base, it's not just about more numbers, it's actually about
More
getting
stories.
inspiration from
Yeah.
more stories and sharing that. And I was actually really surprised about the amount of people that comment on other people's results, or then they look them up, and so I really like that side of thing.
Yep.
And whilst we have athletes all over the world, we're connected in a sort of a strange sort of a way. We're not a squad.
Yes.
We're certainly not a squad, but there is a way to connect. And let's be honest, it's 2018, so it's a pretty easy way to connect. So also your experience with multi-day and stage races, I
Yep.
think that's a really big thing that you've experienced.
Yeah, so I'll just touch on that for a minute.
Yeah.
I completed Ultraman Australia up here in 2016 on the Sunshine Coast.
Yep.
Whilst it was probably the hardest thing I've ever done, it was probably the most rewarding thing, or number 2 actually, because a few months after that I left Sydney on a pushy, and April and I did a whole lap of Australia on the bike with her as my support and Tim as my coach.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and day in, day out, riding 185 kilometres around one of the toughest planets, one of the toughest countries on the planet. Certainly, I had a goal that I wanted to test myself. It certainly did that. But it was really, what I took most out of it was the training peak side of things, and how all that data actually relates to how things roll out. So I still look back on those long days and think about that as well. So
For those data junkies at home, his peak CTL for that ride, CTL being fitness, of course, was
378.
Yep,
So 378.
378 as a peak CTL, updated zones. It was crazy. Anyway, so this guy's kind of been to the abyss and back. Numbers I'll never really touched. So look, we'll probably leave it there. So there's heaps of stuff going on. There'll be more and more stuff that we're going to put out over the next few weeks, so you get a greater understanding. So Greg's coming. He's full-time, but he's ready to expand his athlete base. So if you know anyone out there looking for someone who would suit Greg as a coach, reach out to us, coasports.com.au, or directly on Instagram, Facebook, anything like that. We'll get in touch. We'll get the ball rolling, and it's really, really exciting, mate. I'm proud of you.
Awesome.
Thanks,
mate.
It's going to be good fun. We'll talk soon.
See you guys.
See ya.